The truth is, digital marketing does not work for everyone anymore because the rules of the game have changed and they are constantly changing. I've been a digital marketer for 10 years and have overseen spends of more than $100 million. And if you ask me what's the most important factor in a success of a digital marketing campaign, I would say relevance. And if you ask me to give you one advice in 2024, I would say adapt to survive. But always, what do you mean by relevance? What do you mean by adapt to survive? And that's what I'm going to discuss in this video. 7 lessons I learned which helped me to strategize some successful digital marketing projects in 2024. Lesson number 1, make your ads like native content. See, if you want to be successful in digital marketing, you have to understand the media, and most of the media consumption happens on the 7 most important social media platforms, which are Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X, Snapchat, and LinkedIn. And while talking about these platforms, you have to understand one very, very important thing. People go to these platforms to check on their friends or family or favorite influencers or content creators. So if you want your ads to be successful on these platforms, your ads have to look like the native content of these platforms. If you're going on TikTok and you have an advertising campaign, the animated graphics and the offer does not work anymore. You need to create UGC or UGC style content. That's what works because it matches the native content available on the platform. And same is true with all other social media platforms. And as they say, brands do not need to do social media marketing. They need to be social. That's what it means. One smart thing I see a lot of brands I work with doing is they use their organic reach to kind of test what kind of content works for them. They create different content pieces, and whatever content gets good engagement on their organic reach, and that's where they decide the high performing content pieces will go in their advertising campaigns. The second point is focus on psychology and not technology. As the platforms are taking care of everything on auto mode, like finding you the right audience, finding the right bidding strategy, the bid caps, the placements. Consumer psychology is becoming one of the most important variable in the marketing equation in order to be successful. But consumer psychology is a very, very broad term, but I have learned some lessons which kind of break it down for you. The first one is attention grabbing is everything. While you are strategizing and working on your creative and the campaign idea, whether it's able to grab the attention is the first thing you should focus on. That's the first thing the creative needs to have. On top of this, your creative needs to be out of pattern, but at the same time have a pattern match. What do I mean by that? See, human beings, the psychology of human beings is such that we only notice things which are out of routine, which are out of pattern. The sun rises from the east every day and we do not consciously notice it or pay much attention every morning. But someday, if it rises from the west or north, that's when we will notice it. That's how human psychology works. And if you apply the same philosophy on your creative and the campaign idea, it needs to be fresh and unique in a way so that people will pay attention to it. However, you have to find a very nice balance between being unique and different, but at the same time, you have to ride the trends that are working. You have to understand one thing, marketing psychology is a field of its own. But if you want to know more about marketing psychology in detail, I highly recommend to download and read this ebook called An Introduction to Marketing Psychology. The good news is that you can download it for free from the link in the description below. This ebook will give you practical science-backed strategies to improve your marketing game. It's brilliantly divided into different sections and starts with fundamentals of marketing psychology and then explains how you can use marketing psychology in awareness phase to capture attention, how to nurture interest in consideration phase, and how to drive decisions in acquisition stage, and dives into creating brand loyalty. My favorite part in the ebook is the practical and relatable examples it provides you to understand different concepts in marketing psychology. This ebook was created by HubSpot, who is also sponsoring this video. This leads us to the third point, which is the AI people generally miss on. If I have to summarize a successful social media marketing or digital marketing strategy in 2024, it will be this. You pay these 7 media platforms, and what they do is they employ their AI and algorithm to find you the right audience. They optimize your campaigns with the best bidding strategy, the bidding caps, and everything around it. And they also provide you reach. And what you have to decide as advertisers and where you have to focus your energy is on marketing fundamentals. In a way, I think all the successful brands, they're going back, they're getting rid of spending all their energy on these tactics as well as data analytics, and the focus is getting more towards the marketing fundamentals. So I guess we need to kind of step back from crunching numbers only and spending all the energy on these targeting tactics and focus more on creative, the campaign messaging, the offer, and how to tell better stories about your brand. And as digital marketers, if you ask me what kind of AI or which AI we should employ to be successful, I would say let the platform AIs do their work. That is the most powerful AI which a digital marketer can use. This leads us to our next point, which is do not bombard people with your ads. I was recently in India and I realized that the edtech companies in India, they really bombard you with the ads. I was there for a week and I saw millions of ads. And then I started studying more about it, and I realized there's a lot of research done about this. When you run rewarded ads or remarketing campaigns without frequency cap, this actually, after a limit, leads to generating brand hate among the audience. And some audience have even reported in the surveys that they feel like a sense of intrusion by these brands in their life. And this is something you should control. And I have experienced it myself. So always set a particular frequency cap or adjust your remarketing budgets based on the audience size you have. A good frequency cap, in my experience, is a maximum of 3 exposures in a day to a single user, or 7 to 10 exposures in a week to the same user. And this is backed by some studies as well, but obviously there can be different cases for your brand and you can adjust it here and there for your brand as well. This leads us to our next point, which is do not sell everything in the ad. I see a lot of people struggling with this. I see this in real estate clients. The first reason is when you want to put all the information in the ad, you have to compromise on the quality of the ad. You have to compromise on how you are pitching that your product or service within those details. And this is a lesson I learned from a recent bootcamp I attended with Google, but unfortunately I cannot share those details or those case studies with you. But here are the takeaways. When you design an ad or decide on your ad copy, you have to make sure that you give just enough information to create an engaging ad for the user so that they click on it if they are interested in your brand, product, or service. Obviously, it doesn't have to be vague so that it looks clickbait, but you just have to provide just enough information so that it kind of engages the user and they want to check more details. And that's when you direct them to your landing page and you have all the details in a very good and sequential way to drive them down the funnel. I see a lot of bad examples in this category. This leads us to our next point, which is constant stream of ideas. This one kind of goes back to the point I mentioned in the beginning, which is adapt to survive. One of the biggest challenges I see now in October 2024 in digital marketing teams and agencies is they're struggling with this. And I think going forward, if you own a brand or you are responsible for digital marketing of any brand, a lot of your investment should go into resources which help you to create these constant stream of unique and fresh ideas. The time is gone when every year you had a back to school campaign, when you had a summer campaign, a new year campaign. Now you need to have fresh ideas to kind of cater to these algorithms. This leads us to our last point, which is branding and reach are important too. Early in my career, I was not a fan of running branding and reach campaigns. I would always suggest clients to move their branding and reach budgets to performance, because I would say, okay, if we run this budget on performance campaigns, we sacrifice a bit on the reach, but at the same time, we run measurable campaigns and we drive results which impact the business. But only with time, I learned the lesson that if you want long-term growth, you have to invest on branding and reach as well. In current noise of advertisers in digital media space, it's very, very important to kind of have connections and have relevance with your audience, and you tell them your brand story, you generate brand love among them. That's the only thing that will give you long-term growth. And to tell your story, you need to leverage reach, because if you have the most fantastic story to tell about your brand, but you tell it in a forest where nobody will hear this, there's no point. So reach is very, very important. Branding gives you kind of your unique voice, your style, and that's what will keep you hooked and top of mind of your audience. And it'll even make your ads and content more memorable and create more top of mind awareness. And that's all for this video. But if you're looking for inspiration for your marketing campaigns, to do some successful marketing campaigns, check out these videos where I discuss some fantastic case studies of digital marketing campaigns.